Hey. So, alright, in line with doing updates that are themed and based on the last 10 months of my life, which has been as long as I've been taking testosterone, this is another one of them. Like, it's just a themed update, right? I considered looking over my old videos to get some more kind of insights as to what I think would help people in early transition in so far as advising, because I get a lot of emails from people asking me things, and that's cool. I just I figured this is a way to help people more so basically this is a way of, I'm not really engaging with people, I suppose, in a sense, but it's a way of kind of giving sometimes solicited, sometimes unsolicited advice about what transitioning can be like socially and what helped me. So first and foremost, what helped me was having a very strong sense of self. I found that the days that I was doubting what I was doing or unsure of myself, that's when being misgendered would really get to me. That's when going into the female toilets and getting looked at by females and then having them walk out, or getting told off for going in there, would really upset me those days. Having a really strong sense of self before you pick up the phone, before you go out in public, is really important. And it's not just complete strangers in public toilets, of course, it'll be what your friends say as well. So that's where I think having really good boundaries has come in handy. Knowing what's your stuff and what's their stuff is really cool. I'm going to take this off because I can't take myself seriously. It's great, you know, it's got everything on it. Like, seriously, check that out. Hang on. Like, you know, just in case. Alright, so anyway, boundaries, definitely boundaries. I found that people who are very attached to their constructed gender roles were the people who actually had more issues with what I'm doing than anyone else. And this even includes people who I'm quite close to, who are my friends. And that was really interesting. So, you know, being careful about who you disclose this to is really cool, in the sense of when and where and how. You know, like I told my mum over the phone because she's 900 kilometers away. I think she kind of already knew, like, just from my upbringing and stuff and who I am. And I haven't told anyone else in my family directly because I'm not really that engaged with them. I accept, of course, my cousin and her kids. So anyway, whatever. So we're talking about the social stuff and about boundaries. So coming out, choosing who you disclose to is good. So I've written a bit of some notes. So yes, definitely boundaries. Okay. Yes. Oh, if only we could let go of being misgendered a lot easier. Seriously, if I could just always laugh at being called she. If I could just laugh when I hear my birth name and still respond to it. Like, I don't respond to that name anymore. However, when someone does misgender you, and it will happen, I think it's really important to look at ways to not disown that, but detach yourself from having a response, particularly immediately at the time. Asserting yourself consistently, being gentle but firm. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Be gentle but firm. Being consistently gentle in the sense of, what's the term? Well, polite. Like, don't blow people's heads off, because you know what? You're gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have to wait a while. Like, it's taken me a while with some of my trans mates to use their preferred pronoun consistently, right? And it's just practice for me, you know. And other people do that, and I tell you what, man, when you find someone who respects what you're doing and loves you and respects your preferred pronoun, all that jazz, how you want to be addressed, who just accepts it. They don't even have to understand it. You can't expect anyone to understand what you're doing, because trust me, there's going to be people telling you you're nuts, la la la. However, just having even one or two people accept what you're doing, or more if you're lucky, fucking hold them close. Seriously, keep them right here. Do not let them stray. Make an effort to engage in those friendships, because they mean so much when other people don't get it, right? And other people might have opinions that, you know, don't sit well with you. Having some people, like a crew in your life that get it, gratitude, seriously, just love them to death. I'm just having I'm on a juice fast, so So who to disclose to? Yeah, definitely, right. So sometimes I find that unfortunately, often I'll be out in public socially, and people want to talk about being transgendered or about testosterone or something, right? And I don't want to. I don't always want to talk about it. Who else wants to always talk about their, diagnosed medical conditions, even though I don't necessarily believe that's necessarily what's going on here. However, it's a very, very private journey, and it's really rude to ask people about what's between my legs or what I plan to do with it, etc. I don't ask other people about that. So one way, there's a few ways that I cope with this. One is deflecting, right? So when someone comes up to me and they say, oh, look at you, you're getting built, or you're getting hairy, or your voice is changing, whatever, I just make a comment on their hair. Like, oh my God, I love the colour of your hair. Where did you get that done? So bring it back to about their physicality, because although you can compliment them, right? So that, and it's for something they're passionate about, they'll just run with it. It's a good way to totally stop that conversation about transitioning, although sometimes people come back to it again and again, and I've got to keep deflecting and using humour and just, I want to talk about it with some people. I don't want to talk about it with everyone. So, and you know what? You don't have to, right? So using humour and deflecting like that, putting the focus back on them is cool. That's the humour. That's for me, the most humane way to do it. Another way is to, basically say talk to the hand and walk away. I do not want to engage in a conversation with this, with you about this. Being really upfront, saying I don't wish to disclose this and I don't see how it's any of your business. I think that being that clear and upfront and forward when you have to be is absolutely necessary. So that works as well. So in the social stuff and in coming out and in disclosure, the only thing that people need to know is two things, right? One, how do you identify? And two, what is your preferred pronoun? Everything else, nobody needs to know. They don't know if you're gonna, they don't need to know if you might have top surgery in a year's time. They don't need to know how much testosterone you're taking, how often. They don't need to know anything except who you are right there in front of them at that moment, in that point of time. And if that's who you are, then just be who you are, because, it's pretty cool to be who you are, right? Loving it, right? What you plan to do with your body, or more about the kind of personal intricacies of transitioning, they don't have to know about it. Now, for some people, I don't mind answering questions. For some people, it's kind of particularly guys who've just started they have a lot of questions and stuff. So that's usually when I would email someone and we would do it like that, and we'd meet up one-on-one, or go to the park, go out and discuss it like that, because public situations isn't really the place. It depends, where you're at. Some people like doing that and bringing out a public arena. I kind of get that. Role modeling is good, educating is good, and I try to do that as much as possible. But it's interesting because I'm trying to pull back from that at the moment, because it can get really tiring, I suppose, kind of frustrating with the ongoing, no, I'm not F to M. I love it when people think I'm M to F. I go, oh, thank you. So anyway, being non-binary and coming out socially is a little bit different also, because of the social script that we have about female body-born people taking testosterone, and even full-on trans people, 99% of people think that I'm F to M, and I don't identify with male all the time, so why would I, have that as my paperwork, and why would I be that if I'm not that? So I think challenging that narrative, and that the fact that gender and sex they're entirely different things, right? However, say for example, gender is, it's a social construct. Say it's a spectrum or A to B. People often will say to me, so when are you going to finish? And I'm sorry, what is there a finishing point with transitioning? Or I've always been trans. In my mind, I've always been trans. So genderqueer just wasn't cutting it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's an ongoing process of just evolving and being in this world, and So anyway, look, the other social thing, be patient. Yeah, be patient, boy. Yeah, own it. Just own it. Know that what you're doing is the right thing, and come from that space, and just be consistently assertive, and eventually people will get it. You just got to be patient, and it's hard to let it go when it's so people can be so rude and so intrusive. However, it can be done, and I think the more we just laugh at these things, the better. So socially it was the hardest thing for me transitioning. The social aspect was definitely the hardest. So and that seems to be settling, which is great. So anyway, that's my social advice update thingy. It's not actually an update because I haven't gone into too much of my personal experience. However, this is how I feel. My personal experience is like, these are the things that I would have liked to have known 10 months ago, like I could have worked with them. So that's why I'm sharing it. Cool. Enjoy your day.